Okay, Audioterm cross synthesis or cross morph. Reading some of Matthias' words. A cross morph is a kind of spectral multiplication of two sounds. In cross morph, you have to preload two sounds from the file list using pload A and pload B. Afterwards, you can go to the FFT analysis by pressing FFT. Alright, let's choose it. And we've got system, disk, and synth. And this is another one where we need source material. We actually need two files before we can make sound. So let's go to disk. And I got a couple here I think I want to use. These two. So I highlight one and I use preload A, highlight another, preload B, and now I'm ready. I'm not going to press it yet, but now I'm ready to load. There's nothing else on this menu that we haven't seen before. So let's load. Okay, and there it is up there in file A, and there's that one in file B, and I can audition them. Okay. I can compute now. I can talk about loop. No loop data. If one of the files has a loop data embedded, it will utilize that in the synthesizing process. If they both have loop information, I believe the shorter one will take precedent. I haven't experimented with it. Oh, here's some nomenclature. It detects no file loop in file A or B, and loop is not active for either. So it would show you the results of its choosing up here, I would assume, and the contents of RAM A and B, file A and B. And these are some parameters we can control. Overlap factor, fast Fourier transform frame size, spectral contrast, that goes from 0 to 2.00, phase correction on or off. This is a feature which, when selected on, reduces flanging if it's present. So we're going to go ahead. I think we've covered these buttons, so we're going to use them in a moment. We're going to compute, and this is going to be a spectral multiplication of both sounds. And here we've got an envelope, and what we've got here is up at the top is A, and I can audition A, just like on the previous screen, 2 screens ago. Here we've got A. If I come down to this level, see right now we're listening to. Well, let's pretend I didn't just say that. A times B can be auditioned here. So let's listen to the difference. B times A can be auditioned here. Let's listen to the difference. And then only B. So it kind of fades between A to B. And if I want to listen to a perfect mixture, A times B plus A, by default it's mixing perfectly in the middle, so I can press output and I'll hear that. So it's like this. Okay. I could draw an envelope here. And over the passage of time, we're going to go from A down to B. And whatever. So, I've got a few buttons here that pertain to this, the drawing of this envelope. Set, I should say reset, but anyway, set, randomize, smooth, we've seen it before, invert, let's try reverse. Let's see that. Okay. This is an interesting one, very useful. It draws a perfect curve. Well, what if I want to fade from B to A? There's no reverse sweep, but I can use the reverse on the sweep that was drawn. Alright, that's very handy. We know normalize. It just makes it use the entire range as best it can. And let's go back and set this. Limit, we've got 3 different resolutions here, or brackets. And these buttons will operate within that limit, as well as my hand drawing. See, I can only draw within that bracket. If I try to draw below, it just flattens it out. But as soon as I get up in the area. Okay. However, so does the random. So does the sweep. Smooth, inverts, reverse, and normal are not affected. Alright. I think we've covered these. And limit. We have not gone into this FFT, which has a submenu of additional choices. And I'm sorry, but I was not able to learn a lot with experimenting. I tried extreme values. I think it's because the source material maybe is too continuous or something. We've got overlap 4, 8, 16, and 32. And we have FFT frame size. I don't even know what that term means. And once again, when you when you compute, it takes you back out to this upper level menu, cross synthesis. So you got to press FFT to get back in. On contrast, I was able to hear some changes. So you'll have to experiment. I don't know. Phase correction we discussed. Let's crank this way up. If I turn phase correction off, let's see what happens. Not much. Let's reduce contrast to 1.0 again. And let's turn phase correction on. Yeah, I don't know if I hear anything. Different source material probably would be better to use. Anyway, we are multiplying we are spectrally multiplying the audio. I think we've covered it. Sorry, I don't have more information on the FFT terminology. Need to do some research on that. Alright, that's the end of cross synthesis.